And take a look at these words in 2 Samuel. I'd like to just talk a little bit about this event in King David's life. I want to talk about building a house. But I also want to talk about the difference between a house and a home, because there is a difference. There's a difference between a house and a home. A house might be a great place to look at, it might be a great place to visit. But a house in itself isn't necessarily a home. A house in many ways is a structure. Brick, mortar, wood, concrete, plaster, whatever it might be. That's a house. But a home, on the other hand, takes us in a little different direction. A home seems to be more. Home is where we bring our frustrations and the issues of life and the things that stress us out. And we hash through those things. And we try to resolve those things in our lives, within our homes. I go to a lot of houses. I visit a lot of houses. But there are only certain ones that I call home. And I call them home for a reason. Because there's a special dynamic that goes on there that makes a home a home. And it has to do with what goes on within those walls and the dynamics that happens. Home is a place where you know that you're safe. You know that someone cares. That you know that you're going to find love. Someone once said that home is where somebody puts up with you. And I guess maybe there's some truth to that, you know? That's part of it. A house, it's just a shell. But a home, Robert Frost was talking about a home, and a home, Robert Frost said, is where when you go there, they have to take you in. You're a part of that. You're a part of that home. And God wants to give us a home. I really believe that. God's design is to give us a home. He wants to give us what we need to make our houses homes. That's what God did when He chose Christ to come into this world and to make His home among us and to be a part of life itself. God wants more for us than just a house. God wants to give us a home. We look at this morning's scripture in 2 Samuel. And we see King David decided that he wanted to build a house for God. Some interesting dynamics go on in this particular scripture as you look at it. There are a few twists in this, and a few things that really perk our interest as we look at this story. And David got it in his mind that he's going to build this home. And it was a house for God to live in. And he even got an okay from the prophet Nathan, God's preacher, on this. But we see that in the process, God overruled that decision. We'll take a moment and look at that in just a short while. But it tells us here in Scripture, it's interesting, that when things had settled down for David, right off the beginning, from the beginning of this chapter 7, that things were going well for David. The king was in his house. He was dwelling there. The Lord had given him rest from his enemies. Things were really going well for him. And it's here that King David said to Nathan, look at this. He says, I'm living in this house of cedar. I'm living in this beautiful house. But the ark of God, the dwelling of God, it's in a tent. And so Nathan says to the king, go do all that you have in mind, for the Lord's with you. But that very same night, the Lord came to Nathan and spoke to him. And he said, Nathan, I want you to go to my servant David. And this is what I want you to tell him. These are my words to him. Say to him, are you the one to build me a house to live in? I haven't lived in a house since the day that I brought the people out of Israel, the people of Israel out of Egypt, to this very day. I've been moving around in a tent and in a tabernacle. And of all those times that I've moved around with my people and been with my people and among my people Israel, did I ever say a word to anyone? Any of the judges or the leaders or anyone else? Did I say to any of them, why haven't you built me a house of cedar? I haven't done this. David wanted to build this brand new, spanking brand new house for God. And all of a sudden God says, no, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Now what's wrong with David building a house for God? Why would God tell him not to follow this desire of his heart and not build this house? I think God looked beyond just on the surface of this building this house. Because you see, God looks at our motives. He looks at the reasons as to why we do things and what motivates us. And in King David's case, I think what was happening here as I look through this story, it seems to me that what David was doing, this house that David proposed to build, wasn't so much for God, but for David's reputation. It was a monument that people could look at down the years and say, even though it might have had God's name on it, people would say, wow, this is the house that David built. This is the house that King David built. And that just wasn't in the plans. That wasn't what God had in mind. It was really about David building something for David more than God. It wasn't a place to live. It wasn't real. It was more to impress and not really to be a dwelling for this God. It's interesting, I was reading 18th century Count Gregory Potemkin. He was on the court of Catherine the Great of Russia. He always tried to please the Queen, Catherine the Great, as best he could. There were some political things going on there, and he wanted to be in her favor, and there were some political moves that he tried to enhance his position. And as the history goes, as the story goes, there's some disagreement on some things, but one time going through, after the Crimean incident, she was going through part of her country, and she really had kind of an obsession just to know that her people were satisfied with the leadership, that they liked what she was doing, and that she had the support of her people. So the story is that Potemkin went ahead of her in the areas in the village that she was going to visit. And he built homes and built buildings, but they were empty. They were fake. They were just kind of propped up along the side of the road, empty buildings, and the people then, he hired a few folks and had some of the peasants come in, clean them up a little bit, had them staged along the road, and when Catherine the Great would drive by, they'd be cheering and act like everything was great and how much they liked her, and that's the impression that he tried to get across to her, but it wasn't real. Now there's some disagreement on some of that. Some say that he really didn't put the buildings up, but he had the peasants and the people just kind of clean themselves up a little bit and make a good presentation. But whatever it is, that Potemkin village had a reputation, and it's even carried down in politics even today as a way of offering something that's not real. Offering something that's not real. And that's what was happening in that circumstance. And sometimes our lives are like that. Sometimes we tend to offer things on the outside that aren't real on the inside. David was going through that. I think that's what was happening and why God didn't want David to build that house, because he looked at his motives and what was happening on the inside. And we see a lot of things from people on the outside, but yet there's so many people on the inside that are empty. That their lives are just empty. And they're searching and looking and just can't seem to find it. They look in a lot of different areas, in a lot of different ways. And it's all on the outside. But on the inside, it's empty. And this is where God comes into play. And I think this is really interesting. God says to David, I don't want show. I don't want empty things. What David says is, what I want is you.